Welcome to Living with Intuition Coffee Chats, your source of real perspectives, insight, and humor from down-to-earth, kick-ass intuitives. Join Lindsay from Super Secret Powers and Andrea from A Soul's Journey with Andrea as we delve into today's coffee chat. All right.
Woohoo! We are live.
We are live. Yes, we are.
Are we alive? No, I don't know.
I'm not.
No,
I
wore this on purpose.
Today.
I know, that's why I'm tired. I tried. I always say I'm tired because he looks like he's like sleeping, but I tried. But I had to today because this is the way I feel. Oh my goodness.
I don't know what it is.
There's a lot going on. That's why. I mean,
yeah, there is. There is a shitload going down. But for the next couple minutes, we'll just kind of take it easy as we slide into this week's episode of Magic Bringers. Of Living with Intuition, because we'll get to that in a second. Of Living with Intuition. The Samhain edition. So we're going to tell some ghost stories. We're going to, get into the Samhain feels and all that kind of stuff. So, but happy Samhain week, right? No. Or is it next week? No, it's next week. Well, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
But most of us will probably be celebrating Samhain this Saturday or so. Because of the full moon eclipse and all that. Some very potent magic. We were just saying that, we're all out of time right now. And I don't mean, missing,
it's
deadline out of time. Time warps. Yeah.
It's just, I feel like it's been more than, a week, a long time since we've done this live. And it's just, we do it every week. And I'm like, why does it feel so long? We actually did it a day late. Last week we did it on Thursday, so it should be that it got here quicker. But no. And then we were just talking about how she's been on Friday. Her husband's been on Thursday.
Yesterday was Friday. My husband thinks today is Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm like, how am I supposed to know what day it is if you guys don't? I'm like, and then she comes on and says Magic Bringers Rising, and that's a Sunday show.
Yep, out of time, for recording it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, out of time, out of place.
Wow.
Though I have to say, when I was getting the mail before, I'm looking outside at the sunset, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, whoa. It feels like a Samhain night tonight. It feels like Magic Rising. And I'm also like, oh no, we have 3 more days of this. Which, I love, really. It's not an oh no, but it's an oh no because, I'm tired. I still have to invest in planning some Samhain ritual stuff. And it's just how can I get my shit together? How can I get my witchy shit together right now? Because I'm just let's all just do a healing circle, which is never a bad thing, but I almost feel like that's a go-to at this point. And I'm just it can't all be healing circles, Lindsay.
And I have not been on Earth all day today. I swear. I've been channeling and traveling, and I haven't even sorted it all out yet to even talk about it, but today was a very, very magical day for that. But now I'm tired. I'm just
well, I'm in this weird place where I feel like the past just doesn't exist. I'm just no attachment to the past.
It is coming around to that for me because I was just saying all my bad memories, weird things that I always got triggered with and all. I'm finding wonderful things to say about these people and the places and the things that have happened to me. And it's the universe has been giving me these little presents here and there with, I forgot about those memories. We were talking about the candy cigarettes before, and I'm like, oh yeah, when I used to go to Florida when I was a kid, before we moved there and everything, there was, in Pompano Beach, Florida, there was a candy shop that I always got these special chocolate cigarettes that were in the, I guess it was probably tin, but it was like a gold or silver tin little box that made it look fancy, and you take them out and you pretend you're smoking them and then you eat them. And it's like, well, my grandmother had a set like that, and then she said that your grandmother, was it your
Yeah.
grandmother too? That had a set like that of that fancy stuff that has everything that matches. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot how elegant my grandma Turner was, and how she had this. She was very stately. She was very tall and slender. She had her cigarette, and she was a politician. She was way ahead of her time, and I'm like, oh wow. It's like I just had these images of her just pop into my head that I haven't thought about, and maybe I don't even know when. So that's the kind of energy that it's been lately.
Yeah. Very good,
Really,
very
yeah.
good memories.
Mm-hmm.
Like the memories that like you want that are going to like empower you to
Right.
step into
It's
your
like,
next self and
I
your
want to
more
be like
upgraded
that.
version, whatever
Right.
that concept is, because
My grandmother,
sometimes
like,
there's problems with
right.
those concepts, but but it still happens. So we're all still trying to talk about an experience that we get. And that's certainly, that upgraded experience is certainly what I think this eclipse and the Samhain energy is like all about. Um, just like following the trails of the little magical stuff.
I know.
I mean, in the course of a day, I've seen, like in this past week, I know I've seen like angel numbers come up like at least 4 times in that one day, where it was just like I'd look up and it's 333. I'd look up and it's 444. I'd look
one,
up
two,
and it's
three,
555.
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
I don't really follow angel numbers, but wow.
And the rainbows
my
lately and
consciousness
stuff.
is honing in on something here.
We've been seeing actual rainbows
Last week.
constantly,
Yeah.
and then everybody else is posting their
2 weeks ago.
rainbows.
Yeah.
And it's like all this driftwood kind of stuff coming into to play to help you remember things, to help you know you're on the right track, and it's like really been amped up.
Mm-hmm.
Very positive stuff coming in, and it's like reminding us of who we are, but who we want to become too. Who we want to step into that power to be. That's the kind of like.
Yeah.
Big energy I've been feeling.
Yeah. But now let's go back in time here. And feel free to chime in on the comments if and when you see this with your own stories. But in honor of Samhain, we thought we'd tell some kind of ghosty, paranormally personal experience stories. And of course, for us, they never end in
No.
like, and then beware of the hook man and never go out and
It's
make
normal.
out with your boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah. Not like the urban legendy kind of ghost stories. But who wants to go first?
It doesn't matter. I was just talking about how my mom heard my dad's voice in the house past couple days, and I was dreaming about him those same nights. Like we'd wake up and text each other like we usually do in the morning, and we were telling our stories. And they were like the same kind of stuff, And he's been gone since 2016, so I think we've come a long way in how we've processed all that, and I think that's why all this good stuff's coming up. And I think he's just our protector now, and that he just comes around just to let us know that everything's okay, and that we can do good things with our life, and and get beyond that grief and stuff like that. And then my cat, who passed away in April this year, is buried in my mom's backyard, and she has a stray cat that looks just like her. Now she usually gets a lot of black cats, and I mean her cat Magic Man died the year before Misty in the same month, so they're both April. And she gets all the stray cats that are usually black. That's why this is so weird. There's never tabbies, never white, never anything. Always black. And some of them even had the little tuxedo thing like Magic Man did. And so to find a gray cat out on her back porch was like, that was like wow enough. But it gets better because this is the only cat out there that has ever gotten along with their their cat Patches, that doesn't usually like anybody on her territory, and she got to pick the cat up. None of the other ones ever let her come that close. She could put food out, and then when she disappears and is looking through the window, then they'll come back and eat. This cat just loves my mom and let her pick her up. And I'm like, oh, that's so Misty coming back. That is so cool. So we've been having weird little things like that happen, which aren't really all that weird to any of us. But that's my current, stories. You have anything that's...
Well, I'm not going to tell current stories.
Well, I mean, I have other stories too, but I don't want to monopolize the whole thing.
No, we'll take turns. So for me, the Samhain season doesn't really end on the 31st, or even at the full moon or the new moon around the 31st. To me, it usually has its own beginning and end period. It's not really a fixed date. It's, whatever's happening and whatever needs to happen, the veil will be thin for, and then when it's done, it's done. So my story actually happened in like mid-November, back when I was in college. So we're probably talking almost 20 years ago. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Almost 20 years ago.
That's crazy to think of that.
A whole child. Because I have a 20-year-old. But, yeah. My friend and I would go, and it was kind of like paranormal investigation, but it wasn't like how you see like on TV or how you see groups do it now. We would just go and we'd follow our own curiosities, follow whatever we seemed to notice at the time, and just try and figure out what it is, try to make contact if we could, if it was something. Well, not even if it was something, because we were following something that was in already some sort of connection to us, whether it was dreams or. But I was always able to use my energy like a radar. So I'd, just ping out to things, and I would get us in the right direction. I'd be driving, and we would just go, and we'd kind of hone in on where we needed to be. And it was just such a freaky night. And we didn't, necessarily go out, just at night. It was just, we were in college. Sometimes that's the only time we had, was at night. But so we were going out in the woods, and we were looking for a logging road. We were looking for a particular location that my friend had seen in a dream. I'm telling a little bit more of the story than I usually tell. And it was in association with a missing persons case, because she had the criminal justice background and all that. So, I was just an anthropologist. I was just like, hey, let's go. I love this. This is fun. Girl time. So we found a logging road in basically the right area. It looked right. It was the right place on the map. All that kind of stuff. We went down the logging road a little ways, and we were both like, nope, 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 nope. Nope. We should not be here. There is something else, and we should not be here. But I had a long car. I had what did I have? I had a Dynasty. So it was almost like a long version of a 90s K car. And so turning it around on this, little logging road, because it's not a real road, it's just a road for work vehicles out in the forest. So it's maybe a trail. So it took a while. So we were kind of stop and start, and oh my God, how are we going to get the car back out? But we got it turned around, and I don't remember why we were out of the car. But we did get out of the car. Oh, we had sandwiches. We were concerned, but we weren't that concerned because, we were stopping, we were leaving. It knew we were leaving. And it was still, further on. So we had, stopped before we sensed that we were really going to get into trouble. But as we were quickly chowing down the sandwiches, yeah, no, there were things in the woods, and it wasn't a bear, and it wasn't a deer, and the deer were running from it, like across the path where our car was, just running in the opposite direction. And then the owl swooped by, and we almost hit it on our way back out. And so we get back on the road, and we're like, all right, maybe tonight's not the night we do this. We were trying to be sensible.
Right, yeah.
So we were trying to find our way back to one of the main roads, because, this is all rural, but once you're on the main road, it's a straight shot without stopping and without any weirdness into town again. And really wasn't sure where I was, right? Because I was using the whole psychic radar thing. I knew we had to go, like, northeast-ish, and I could, I was just like, all right, well, we'll just turn at the next major road, and,
Right.
They all have to connect in this area.
You kind of
because,
just feel it out that way,
well,
yeah.
because there's not that many roads, so they do all connect. And we went by this other logging camp in a little town called Latonia, and there's probably only like maybe 50 people now in Latonia, and there's a little graveyard off on a hillside up there from when there was an illness outbreak. I forget which one at this point, just because it's been 20 years. And so we're on the road. We passed through Latonia. We're like on this dirt road in the middle of the woods, like late November. It's cold, right? So I'm just going slow, and I'm following the roads, and it feels creepy. It feels like maybe we're being followed. But we were leaving, and we couldn't be that far away from the main route, so like I really wasn't like freaked out, or I wasn't anything like that. We had Sting on the cassette tape on our and then I see a woman in the middle of the road. And she had on this light colored sweater. It was like long sleeve, kind of cropped. She had jeans on,
Wow.
boots. She had like longish brown hair. And she's just like walking up the road toward us, toward the car. And I'm like, whoa, like, where'd she come from? What was that? Like, why is she out there? She doesn't have a coat on. Like that, I'm going through these things, and I'm looking at my friend, and my friend is like, don't stop.
No.
Just don't stop. And I'm like, but, because I don't see things normally. Like, if I start seeing things, like, it has to be, like, it wants my attention for not, probably not the best reasons. And she's coming closer, and I'm slowing down because I'm like, oh my God, if this person is real, like, this person is real. Like, I'm not going to hit her because you're telling me not to stop. And, she comes right up to the side of my car. And it was basically stopped. It was, kind of like a rolling stop at that point. And her whole face morphs. And she begins raising her hands over her head like she's going to start pounding on the roof of my car. And Sting on the cassette tape all of a sudden goes away. And all I hear is like, help me.
Woo! Okay. Oh my God.
My friend is going, don't stop.
Right,
Keep going.
yes.
And I'm like, yes, I'm going to keep going now. And so I did. I kept going. And then like maybe like 500 feet down the road, we saw like one of those big camper kind of vans off to the side of the road. Almost like it had been in an accident, but that's really not the impression I got off of it. I got off of it that it was like we're trying to catch unwary people by pretending we're a crashed vehicle.
Right.
But there was nothing around it. It was a dead vehicle along with the dead lady. And so we just kept driving. And by that point, I am very freaked out, and I am very much feeling like I am still being followed. not by a car. So we finally get back up to the main route, and we stop at the diner that was right next to the entrance to the national park there that we kind of were skirting around. And we were like, holy hell. Like, what was that? And she was kind of freaked out, not because she always saw things with her eyeballs, like always, but she was freaked out because I saw something. I was interacting with something. So we're at this little diner, and she went ahead and she got on the payphone, dating myself, and she called the state police, because they're the only people in the area, to go and look, because we were both so rattled we weren't sure
Right.
if somebody was stranded or not. And, flash forward, like, of course, like, nothing. They didn't find anything, not a car, not a woman, not anything. They just filed it in the, we got this interesting report
Right.
file that they do have. Because, they told us they had what it did. But as we're sitting there at the diner, and this is probably just one of those weird things, and it probably wasn't as weird as we thought it was, but because we were already like, and all of our boundaries were a little
Right,
into
yeah.
the unknown. Like, we're sitting there and we're having a piece of pie and a cup of coffee, and like the person next to us is just like, "Are you one of those starred people?" And we're like, "What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? The star people?" She's like, "Yeah, those people who come every year to Cherry Hill State Park to see they're star people. They go and they look at the stars."
Oh.
I had to go and I had to look it up because it's one of the
Okay.
darkest places on the eastern seaboard.
Oh.
But man, I was just like, "What are you talking about? What world do we step into? You're asking us if we're star people."
And I'm like, well, yes, I am.
But it took me a while to work my way through that. And even on this personal level where I could experience things. And if that's what it was like to experience things and to hear things, like even through the radio, like, it was that tangible. And so it really kind of just shifted my whole world, that these experiences and all of people who are experiencers are so adamant because it is so real.
Mm-hmm.
We have experienced something with the majority of our senses. Our body is telling us something happened. And it was really like, it just kind of dropped the bottom out of my life in a way, because then it was just like, all right, I love the idea of anthropology. It's what I was studying, what I have my BA for. But really, it's like white man's academics. It didn't mean
Right.
anything. What meant something to me then at the end was, what were those people experiencing? In their religion, in their spiritual ceremonies, in their belief systems, and not whether it was functionalist, materialist, or socialist.
Right, yeah. The more important
So,
things.
like, it shifted
Right.
a lot of things for me. About what was important about life and people and interactions, and what spirits knew of us and we knew of spirit world, and it spurred a lot.
I can't help but think about Rob and his cat eyes.
Well, we went, because it's the area I went to college. And
Right.
it's a tourist area, and Andrea had been up in that area.
Yeah, we
when
went all
she
the
was a
time.
kid.
Yeah.
So we all had gone and we revisited it, and I was just like, no, we'll go out toward that area because it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty, and there's like rails to trails out there, and the state park. So we just went to the state park, and I'm just like, we had a time crunch, so I was just like, we got to get back. And Rob was like, okay, he was driving that day, but he took like, this is Rob, that this is me and my husband. I'm like, you're really gonna do this? He took the wrong road.
Mm-hmm.
And he took us back down into that area. I had I tell this story to people I know because, they usually don't believe me.
Nice. Okay.
or they don't realize that, like, this has come from such a tangible place.
Right.
Like, that this isn't just like, I read,
Well,
10
it was
books on
definitely a wake up
witchcraft
call. I mean, it was nothing like I ever experienced before, And we saw these little guys. They the way I saw them anyway was these little monkey thing, like monks, not monkeys, but monks, like robed people, but little people without like faces, like dark faces, because they had the hoods on, and they were hiding. They were like hiding behind the trees and stuff at us, like, oh, who's here, like, kind of thing. And we're like, okay, Rob, just keep moving, don't stop, just keep moving. What does he do? He stops, and I think he even opened his door or something, because his window, because he kind of let something in. So we got out of there and we went for ice cream. I remember being at a picnic table. The mountains are behind us, and we're all sitting.
We stopped not far from the diner with the star people, and
we're out there. I'm at somewhere. There's pictures. We actually caught it on film that he looked like he had cat eyes. They went like a cat,
pupils did, yeah.
The pupils, and I'm like, and it stick for a while. It didn't just go away.
They kept asking me to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really creepy. Like, and that was really a eye opener. Yeah. because the whole experience was different than anything I had ever.
I certainly didn't think it was a repeatable experience.
No.
I thought it was just something originally about the original night, about, just what we were doing, what we managed to stir up. An accident on slight purpose. We didn't go in there totally unknowing. I mean, we went in there ready for anything.
I did.
No,
I had no clue what was
on
happening.
my original night.
Right, yeah, the first time she was there, and she told you.
No, there's
not
just
to go
like
that way.
I
You
think
still did.
I think it really was just an area. An area effect. There's something about that area that runs backwards, and the veil opens sometimes.
Sideways.
And it might have a little help.
Yeah, but I'll never forget those little guys. I will never forget what they looked like, how they made me feel. They weren't exactly the most pleasant energy.
No, they were not.
But at least we didn't take them home with us. But a little bit, because his eyes were a little weird.
I think those were the things that have been that follow, though, and they whisper things in your head.
Yeah,
they really do.
And I've learned over.
I just kind of talked over them.
The protection, like putting your own protection spells and stuff up on you before you go to places where you want to see things, like you're looking for an adventure, is really important, because I almost took home those people from the cemetery and in Plymouth, in the Shawnee Cemetery, when we investigated. They were doing a ritual, and it was like a residual kind of haunt, basically, at first, but they saw me, and I almost took them home with me. And that was a little scary. I mean, I'm not really scared by things too much. I mean, there's things that'll get my heart pumping a little bit, but not to the point where I want to leave, or that I'm like, oh God, kind of like at home, like, hiding under the covers kind of thing. But that was a little bit. That was a.
Well, I mean, after that, I'm going to get to Julia's comment in a second. Oh. After that, I mean, it really sort of changed my position on how to go about ghost hunting.
Right, yeah.
And it's not, like, for me, it was never about then looking for trouble, because I knew trouble could be found anywhere. I could invite trouble to my house if I wanted, because I was just part of the world of spirit. And so it, like, I didn't, like, lose its appeal. I mean, I still like that little thrill of hearing a good ghost story kind of stuff. But I really started treating them like real things, real people, real entities. And not all not everything I encountered, of course, is demonic. It really helped me want to see, like, really, actually, like, what these things are, what they
Right.
wanted, like, all different
And,
stuff.
and it changed
though.
the way I asked questions.
It's not
and
black and white.
investigations, and the way I like, like almost like a level of respect, for what we could encounter and what might we not know about them.
Yeah.
And
it's like walking into New York City, you could have a good time, you could have a bad time.
Right.
You could run into all sorts of people in New York City,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing about the spirit world. And you kind of have to be that streetwise kind of person who's able to discern a con from not a con, from somebody who's looking at your purse to,
Right.
just somebody who actually just really needs directions.
Because I came from a world where the supernatural that I encountered were relatives, people that needed to be crossed over, that kind of world of the like the spirit world. So seeing that stuff out in the forest was like an eye opener to me. That because I'm like all positive about everything, and they just need help and stuff. We're gonna help them, cross them over, solve their problems or whatever.
They weren't
but
people.
no,
You can't cross them
I
over.
know, but I don't think I ever really put those connections together. I just thought those things were in movies, because I from when I was like 4 or 5, maybe younger, I had entities in my room at night. They wanted help crossing over. My grandfather, who I never met, he basically lived in the basement yet in his workshop because that was like where his passions were. So of course you kind of go there, and I was the only one that could see him down there and feel him and talk to him and actually engage as a teenager. And nobody could ever open his drawers to get the saws and all the big heavy tools out, and everything, the light would be on and the drawers would be opened, and he would be like ready for Andrea when I came down there. Every time I went down for something, Grandma would say, go down to the pantry where you keep all your canned goods and stuff and all. And I'm like, that light was always on, inviting me in and showing me things, and new things would be out all the time. It's like he was like, telling me, this is what I would have done with you if I had known you, or the feelings were just there. Like he was hugging me, and he wanted to know me. So that probably was the first time I started really talking out loud to an entity, like really confidently. And I would tell him about my day, if good or bad or anything, and I would just have a conversation until somebody would say, what happened to you down there? Because if they went down right after me, everything's locked up, closed up, lights are off, you would never know and anything happened. But how come I knew the whole list of tools that were in there then, huh?
So Julia says she loves this story, referring back to the thing I saw in the woods. You told it at a party at my mom's house a few years ago, and shortly after that I went back to Rhode Island, and I was around people I shouldn't have been, and I would see the cat eyes on people when they were going to do something really dangerous, or when it was time for me to get away. And before that, I had never seen people with eyes like that. So Spirit manifested the cat eyes for me. Yes, when it
to
was
make that
time
connection,
to go.
right? Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. It gives me like,
And there's that contagiousness about this magic and this awareness.
Yes.
And there's a lot of superstitions around it, a lot of ways it could go afoul, but there's also ways that you can use this kind of spirit learning and hearing other people's stories and making those kind of connections that will ultimately benefit you and help you figure out why you're like the way you are. But your whole soul purpose behind being that way too, because it's always part and parcel. And sometimes we have to be stirred up a little bit in order to really come to that deeper acceptance of ourselves and who we are and why this was important to us, or a thing for us since we were smaller,
Yeah, it wakes something up in you. that you didn't know was there before. And that awareness keeps getting stronger the more you want to know more. You want to explore it more. I think, and it does really encourage you once it opens the door for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I almost feel like we'll never forget our first times we saw something really weird. Really out there, just stepping into that otherness of our quantum reality. And it kind of keeps reminding you, even if it doesn't continue to happen, or it changes, or it shifts, or as you come into your purpose and your spiritual alignment more, it becomes more directed, and you keep having more consistent experiences of it, like a different kind.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's certainly different when you open yourself up to do something like the Akashic work or the intuitive reading work, where you set up the space and the container for you to be able to do that on a daily, consistent basis, especially for other people. And it also then kind of helps, weed out the randos. It can, at least. It can. It doesn't have to, but it can. I mean, there are certainly days and weeks where I have energy for one thing but not the other.
Right.
And it's usually prioritized at this point at 45 and been working with this.
You just know.
For the working block and not going, looking for the random stuff. But even when we start doing the paranormal investigation stuff at somebody's house, we go in there, but certainly believing that these people had some kind of experience, that they are touching on some kind of other, even if maybe it's not like a direct ghost, like there's an actual ghost, an actual spirit experience. Because it's so easy when you're beginning your journey to confuse haunted with I'm a medium. I'm actually a medium. I'm actually a spirit talker.
Right.
And there's not enough full breast discussion about what these personal experiences are in the world. And, TV certainly doesn't help, especially the shows that are all like, it's always demonic. There's never not a demon in the places we go. And it's like, really?
It doesn't always have to be that way.
Really?
No.
Like, you really want to play that hand where, you were verging on somewhat believable, and then like, oh, no, there's always a demon. No matter what. Even in the whole, course of human history, demons like that only,
Right, yeah, exactly.
Christianity.
They're few and far between compared to the good experiences we have. We want to put that out there because we don't want you not to want to. It's like, but I think it's exciting. I don't know. I think as an adult, as the counselor in me, I want to know who you are, what your life was like, and why you're still here, why you can't cross over, and what could we do to help you with that process, or just make it easier for everybody to get along if we can't move you on. And I really feel like there's something good you can really do for others. I mean, to me, when I feel them, when I'm in a house or a cemetery or wherever, and I feel them, just like I'm feeling Lindsay, I'm feeling the dogs, I feel them like they're totally here and real. And that's the way I treat them, because they are. Just because you can't always see them the way you want to see them doesn't mean they aren't so. And I think we've learned over the years how to respect that, how to talk to them politely so that you're not, I don't like when ghost hunters come out and say, "You're dead." Do they know they're dead? Was it a traumatic event and they're confused and that's why they're driving you nuts in your house because they have no freaking clue what happened and they're trapped in limbo and they just need some help sorting it out? I never say, do you know you're dead? Down the line, I'll have a conversation maybe, and if I'm getting pinged with it, I will gently start asking those sensitive questions that kind of could lead there, but still not,
I'll come right out and I'll ask them, do you know how you got to where you are?
Right. Yeah, you want to gauge it. You don't want to just say, you're dead. Deal with it. That's the way some of them on these ghost hunting shows come across. It's like, you want to provoke them all and like...
But I'm not dead yet.
I don't know why you can't see me.
No, it's a Monty Pythonism. During the play.
Oh.
They're piling people in the wagon.
Yeah.
And the guy's like,
yes,
but I'm
yes.
not dead yet.
Oh my God. But you don't know. I never assume. I just never assume.
You can assume. Because there are more things than just angels and demons and dead grandmas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there are all sorts of nature spirits that are almost inconceivable until you experience it, and you're like, well, it can kind of sort of answer questions.
Yeah.
It's definitely alive, whatever it is. It's not actually hurting anyone.
No.
It must just have some other function, or it's just there. It's just a thing. It's not really demonic. It's not malicious. It's not.
And half the time they're just coming across that way because they're confused and they don't know what's going on.
Or they're feeling territorial.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And they're frustrated and overwhelmed, and you have to treat them as a human with those kind of emotions.
Or at least some kind of sovereign being.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know your stories.
Yeah,
please.
Tell
us your stories. Because we have so many. We could be here for hours, really. I mean,
and I don't know what I'm gonna do for like the Facebook public for Samhain yet, just because I'm still trying to gather up my energy and figure things out. But definitely expect to see me sometime over this weekend with some more Samhain blessings. And if I don't see you, have a beautiful Samhain. Have a very transformative and upgrading Samhain.
And Happy New Year! It's a brand new year.
Happy spiritual New Year. All right.
Love you guys.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.